Welcome to the Spooky Cats channel, your prime destination for all things eerie. We specialize in chilling content that's sure to keep you on edge. Stay tuned for a thrilling journey.
In the heart of the Midwest, Fort Wayne, Indiana, a city known for its manufacturing prowess, hides a chilling secret. Nestled between the winding rivers and expansive farmlands, Fort Wayne stands as a testament to the American dream. A city built on the sweat and determination of hardworking folks, it's a place where the promise of prosperity echoes in the clanging of the factories and the hum of the assembly lines. But beneath the veneer of progress and industry, in the shadowy corners of the city, a disturbing presence lurks. In the mid to late 2000s, the city's rhythm was disrupted, not by economic downturn or political scandal, but by something far more sinister. A specter, a phantom, known only as the Killer in the Rain. The name itself paints a chilling picture, doesn't it? A predator lurking in the downpour, using the curtain of rain to cloak his heinous deeds. It's a name that would send shivers down the spine of even the most fearless residents, a name that would change the city forever. Fort Wayne, once a symbol of American ingenuity, found itself in the grip of a terror that seemed to rise with the darkening clouds. As the skies wept, so did the city, mourning the loss of innocence and the shattering of trust. The timeline of the events is as murky as the rain-soaked nights when the Killer in the Rain made his ominous debut. From the mid to late 2000s, the city was held hostage by fear. Residents locked their doors, peering nervously out of their windows, wondering if the patter of the rain on their roofs was the only sound that would break the night's silence. But while the city quaked in fear, it also rallied. The spirit of Fort Wayne, indomitable and resilient, would not be broken. The people stood together, vowing to reclaim their city, their peace, from the clutches of this unseen menace. As the rains descended upon the city, so did the terror, and Fort Wayne would never be the same. While the city slept, the Killer in the Rain crept, choosing his victims with a terrifying precision. The victims, all women, held a haunting similarity. Despite coming from diverse backgrounds, varying in age, profession, and lifestyle, they all shared certain striking similarities. They were all brunettes with a slight build and a particular kind of quiet charm that was as enchanting as it was mystifying. There was Maria, a high school teacher, well loved by her students. She was known for her love of classic literature and her gentle, nurturing demeanor. Then there was Sarah, a vibrant young artist just starting to make a name for herself in the local art scene. She was admired for her innovative ideas and the passion she poured into her work. And let's not forget about Emily, a dedicated nurse who worked tirelessly to care for her patients. She had a heart of gold and was always ready to lend a helping hand. These women lived their lives with purpose and passion, completely unaware of the looming danger. They were the unsuspecting victims of a predator who stalked the city under the cover of rain. The Killer's choice of victims wasn't random. No, he chose them with a chilling precision, methodically selecting women who mirrored his specific criteria. As the body count grew, so did the similarities between the victims. They were all found in the early hours of the morning, their bodies left in eerily similar positions. Each victim was discovered in a public space, a sadistic display for the world to see. The Killer was not just taking lives. He was sending a message, playing a twisted game with the city he terrorized. This pattern, this grim similarity between the victims, would later become a crucial piece in the puzzle for investigators. It was a haunting clue, a breadcrumb trail left by the Killer, leading them into the dark corners of his macabre world. The city was gripped by fear, every raindrop echoing with the dread of the unknown. The city's finest were stomped. The clues left behind by the Killer in the Rain were as elusive as the Killer himself. These were the chilling early days of the investigation. The police force, usually so adept at piecing together the jigsaw of crime, found themselves at a standstill. The lack of discernible evidence and a motive as murky as a rain-soaked night left them grappling in the dark. Fort Wayne's finest found themselves locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse, with an adversary who was proving to be as slippery as the rain-slicked streets he prowled. The frustration within the ranks was palpable. The usual channels of investigation were yielding nothing. Fingerprints? None. DNA? Inconclusive at best. The usual hallmarks of a serial killer? Absent. It was as if the rain was washing away any trace of the phantom who was haunting their city. Meanwhile, the community's fear was as palpable as the police's frustration. The city, once known for its vibrant neighborhoods and tight-knit community, was now paralyzed by fear. People were afraid to venture out, especially when the rain started to fall. Every drop seemed to echo the terror of the unknown, the dread of the next victim, the next headline. But then, a breakthrough. A glimmer of hope amidst the storm. The police, in their relentless pursuit, finally managed to find a common thread linking the victims. It was subtle, almost invisible, but it was there. A tiny detail that could easily have been overlooked. But it was the first real lead they had. It was the key they needed to unlock the pattern, to start making sense of the senseless. The pieces of the puzzle were finally coming together, pointing towards a horrifying picture. The killer in the rain was not a random phantom. He was a calculated predator, stalking his prey under the cover of the city's rainfall. As the investigation unfolded, the police found themselves closer to unmasking the face behind the terror. It was in the details that the true horror of the killer in the rain's modus operandi came to light. As the investigation unfolded, detectives started to notice a chilling pattern in the murders that were happening around Fort Wayne, Indiana. This was no random act of violence. This was a serial killer with a precision that was as terrifying as the acts themselves. Each victim was found in the rain, hence the name, Killer in the Rain. They were all women, aged between 20 to 35 with a distinct feature. They all had auburn hair. The killer left no traces, no fingerprints, nothing that could lead to his identity. His meticulousness was horrifying, his attention to detail was unnerving, and the way he executed his gruesome acts was downright chilling. The victims were all found in isolated areas, places where screams would go unheard, where help was miles away. Each crime scene was meticulously cleaned, almost as if the killer took pride in his handiwork. The victims were found in the same position, a sickening signature of the killer in the rain. What was even more terrifying was the ritualistic nature of these heinous acts. Each murder was carried out on a rainy night. The correlation between the rain and the murders was not lost on the detectives or the people of Fort Wayne. The rain, usually a symbol of life and renewal, had taken on a sinister significance. With each murder, the police were able to predict the killer's next move. They knew when he would strike, on a rainy night. They knew who he would target, auburn-haired women. But they were no closer to knowing his identity. The killer remained a faceless terror, lurking in the shadows of the city. By now, the rain had become more than just a weather phenomenon for the people of Fort Wayne. Every time the skies darkened and the rain began to fall, a sense of dread would fall over the city. The rain was no longer just a weather phenomenon for Fort Wayne. It was a harbinger of doom. The relentless pursuit of justice finally bore fruit, revealing the face of the monster that had been hiding in the rain. A sudden break in the case, a chilling turn of events, brought forth the identity of the elusive killer in the rain. A discarded item, a careless act, was the eventual lead that turned the tables. A single piece of evidence left behind at the scene of the latest horrific crime put the investigators on a trail that led straight to the killer. Forensic science, in all its cold, hard precision, began to paint a picture of a man who had been living among the people of Fort Wayne, hidden in plain sight. And then, the unmasking. A seemingly ordinary man, living an ordinary life, was unveiled as the monster who had been haunting the city. The reveal sent shockwaves through the community. Neighbors, friends, even family struggled to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the grisly crimes he had committed. The face of the man in the mugshot was etched into the collective memory of the city, a chilling reminder of the evil that had lurked among them. However, alongside the shock came a wave of relief. The reign of terror that had gripped Fort Wayne was finally over. The streets no longer echoed with fear, and the rain lost its sinister undertone. Parents could let their children play outside again, and the nights were no longer filled with nightmares of the shadowy figure lurking in the rain. Yet the relief was bittersweet. The unmasking of the killer brought closure, but it also opened up old wounds. The city mourned for the victims, their lives cut short in such a brutal manner. The pain of their loss was felt throughout the community, a stark reminder of the human cost of the killer's reign. The rain had stopped, and with it, the reign of the killer in the rain. But the city of Fort Wayne would forever bear the scars of the terror that had once gripped it. The unmasking marked the end of a dark chapter, but the story of Fort Wayne's struggle against the killer in the rain was far from over.
Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed, hit subscribe for more adrenaline rushes, and don't forget to visit the Spooky Cats on Instagram and Facebook. Keep the spirit, stay tuned.